Hi students, welcome to Schoolless YouTube channel. இன்னைக்கு வந்து ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் 7th டேர்ம் 2ல சயின்ஸ் பாடத்திட்டத்தில் யூனிட் 3 சேஞ்சஸ் அரவுண்ட் us அதில் வந்து எவாலுவேஷனை பார்க்க போகிறோம். Question 1, choose the best answer. When a wooden yarn is knitted to get a sweater, the change can be classified as A. Physical change, B. Chemical change, C. Endothermic change and D. Exothermic change. இதில் வந்து physical change என்பது சரியான விடையாகும் என்பதால் A is the right choice. Question 2. Dash of the following are endothermic changes. A. Condensation and melting. B. Condensation and freezing. C. Evaporation and melting. And D. Evaporation and freezing. இதில் வந்து condensation and melting are endothermic changes என்பதை நம்ம பாடத்தில் பார்த்தோம். The chemical change is dash. Water to clouds. B. Growth of a tree. C. Cow dung to biogas. And D. Ice cream to molten ice cream. இதில் வந்து cow dung பயோகேஸை சேஞ்ச் ஆகிறது கெமிக்கல் சேஞ்ச் என்று நாம் பார்க்குறோம். Question 4. Dash is an example of periodic change. Earthquake. B. Formation of rainbow in the sky. Occurrence of tides. And D. Showering of rain. இதில் showering of rain என்பது சரியான விடை என்பதால் D is the right choice. 5. Dash is not a chemical change. Dissolution of ammonia in water. B. Dissolution of carbon dioxide in water. C. Dissolution of oxygen in water. And D. Melting of polar ice caps. The melting of polar ice caps is not a chemical change because it is a physical change. Now coming to question 2, fill in the blanks. 1. Filling up of a balloon with hot air is a dash change. It is a physical change. 2. Stretching of gold coin into a ring is dash. It is also a physical change. Opening a gas cylinder knob converts dash fuel into dash fuel. This is an example of dash change. Opening a gas cylinder knob converts liquid fuel into gaseous fuel, and this is an example of a chemical change. என்பது சரியான விடையாகும். 4. Spoiling of food is a dash change. Spoiling of food is a chemical change. And 5. Respiration is a dash change. Respiration is a exothermic chemical change என்பது சரியான விடையாக நம்ம பார்க்கிறோம். Question 3. True or false? If false, give the correct answer. 1. Cutting of cloth is an example of periodic change. It's a false statement because cutting of a cloth is a physical change. 2. Taking a glass of water and freezing it by placing it in the freezer is a chemical change. Again, this is a false statement because when you are putting a glass of water into a freezer, it gets frozen. So therefore, it gets converted into a new form. Therefore, it is a physical change. 3. A bean plant collecting sunlight and turning into bean seeds is an example of physical and non-periodic change. This is a false statement because the conversion of bean plant into a bean seed using the sunlight is a chemical change called photosynthesis, and it is a non-periodic change. Question 4. If the chemical properties of a substance remain unchanged and the appearance of or shape of the substance changes is called a periodic change. It is a wrong statement because it is called a fossil change. Now question 5. Tarnishing of silver is an example of endothermic change. It's a false statement because tarnishing of silver is an example of chemical change. Now coming to question 4, match the following. In this, they are given 6 statements on the column A, and B, column B, again they are given 6 statements, and column C, they are given an example of each change which has been explained in B. So we have to match the correct statements, and I have given the correct matching in the answer column. So melting is a process by which the state of solid is changing into a liquid. Example is ice cube into water. That means if you keep an ice cube outside in the open atmosphere, it gets converted into water by dissolution or melting. Question 2, condensation. Change of state from gas to liquid. Suppose if you heat water, it gets evaporated and the steam form gets condensed into water drops when it gets cooled. Therefore, it is condensation, a state of change from gas to liquid. Question 3. Evaporation, change of state from liquid to gas. Suppose if you are heating a water in a beaker, it gets converted into water vapor or steam, and this process of changing from liquid to gas is called evaporation. Now coming to freezing, change of state from liquid to solid, formation of ice cube. Suppose you are putting the beaker of water inside the freezer, then it gets converted into ice cubes, and this process is changing the liquid into solid, and that is called freezing. Number 5, change occurs at regular time intervals, and ticking of clock is what is happening. With every 1 hour you find the clock ticking. So therefore it is a change that occurs at regular intervals. You read this as regular intervals, and non-periodic is a change occurs at irregular time intervals. That is, collecting flowers is one of such non-regular activity which is a non-periodic change. Classify the following changes as physical and chemical changes. Some examples they have given, like rough piece of wood is sanded and polished, resulting in change in texture, rusting of an iron nail, painting the grill, bending a paper clip, pounding silver into thin plate, rolling the chapati dough into the thin wire, occurrence of day and night, eruption of volcano, burning of matchstick, dosa from the batter, blinking of eyelids, occurrence of a thunderstorm, rotation of the earth, formation of eclipses. So, இதில் கொடுக்கப்பட்ட எக்ஸாம்பிளில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா except 3, that is rusting of an iron nail, which is converting iron into iron oxide, a process which is called rusting, and eruption of volcano, which leads to the release of lot of molten material including gases, and burning of matchstick, where the chemical contents in the matchstick are getting burnt and releasing several gases. So these are the only examples of chemical changes, and all the other examples are examples of physical changes, because in such of these changes you find only in the change in the status of size, shape or form. Therefore they are physical changes. Now coming to question number 6, analogy. இதை ஒப்புமை படுத்த சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. So physical changes to boiling to as much as chemical changes to dash. So burning can be told as an example of chemical change. Number 2, wood to sawdust is a physical change. That is, conversion of wood to sawdust is a physical change, and wood to ash is a chemical change. Therefore, physical change is a right answer for wood to sawdust. Now, forest fire is a change, whereas change in period in a school periods is a periodic change. So therefore, forest fire is a non-periodic change என்பது சரியான விடையாகும். Question 7. Answer the questions in very short form. 1. State 2 examples of periodic changes. Seasonal changes and motion of hands of a clock can be told as examples of periodic changes. Question 2. Mention any 2 exothermic reactions. Burning of a magnesium candle and burning of a candle can be told as examples of 2 exothermic reactions. Cold milk is heated and it becomes hot. Which type of change it is? It is a reversible change. Question 4. What type of change is artificial ripening of fruit? It is an irreversible chemical change, because the unripe fruit gets ripened by making it in an artificial way. So therefore this cannot be reversed, and it is a change in chemical constituents of the fruit. So therefore it is an irreversible chemical change. Now question 5. What type of change is coloring of a paper? It is an example of physical change. 6. Growing of nails is a periodic change. Why? Growing of nails is a periodic change because it occurs regularly at periodic intervals. What type of energy changes is associated with ice melts? Physical change. That is, change of ice melting is converted into waters. Therefore, it is getting format change, and therefore it is a physical change. And it is also a change which involves the absorption of heat energy, and that is endothermic change. Question 8. Short answer type questions. This is 1. Distinguish physical and chemical changes. So I have listed the physical change and chemical change with examples giving the characteristics of the changes. 1. Physical change is no new substance is formed and it's a reversible change, and change in physical properties like shape, size and state. And example of physical change is melting of ice, tearing of paper. Whereas in chemical change, normally a new substance is formed and the change is irreversible, and change in chemical properties of reactants and products result from chemical change. An example can be burning of paper and photosynthesis. Now, how can a change occur in a substance? A change can occur in a substance by an alteration in the properties such as color, texture, and the state of the substance, since there is a formation of a new substance. Coming to question 3, can you suggest a method to collect water from seawater? By the process of evaporation, we get the water evaporating into the water vapor, and when the water vapor gets condensed, it gives potable water or water which can be drunk. So therefore, this is evaporation and condensation process which is helpful to collect water from seawater. Is solar eclipse a periodic change? Yes, solar eclipse is a periodic change, as solar eclipse occurs at a definite interval of time. Question 5. What is the difference between dissolution of sugar and burning of sugar? In this, they ask what will happen when sugar is dissolved in water. When sugar is dissolved in water, it disappears and its state changes into dissolved form of sugar. Now, this solution, if it is evaporated, we get sugar again. Therefore, it is a reversible physical change. From one form to the other form, we are able to get the process reversed by doing certain specific operations. When sugar is burnt, fire a chemical reaction between sugar and oxygen, and the chemical bonds in sugar break. Energy is released in the form of smoke. Therefore, burning sugar is a chemical change. Now, coming to long answer type questions. First, explain the following statement. Digestion is a chemical change. Food is first physically taken into our mouth. It is broken down into small pieces in our mouth when we eat. This is by the process of chewing. And mechanical digestion occurs in the mouth, stomach, and small intestine. During digestion, food is chemically changed and new smaller substances are formed. That is only giving the required nutrients or energy to the human requirement. We will never be able to get back the food in the same form as it was before eating. So digestion of food is a permanent chemical change which is irreversible. Question 2. How the iron blade is fixed into the wooden handle in tools used to dig soil. The ring in the iron blade of the spade is heated first. The ring gets bigger as the heating of the blade leads to its expansion. This is because metals always expand on heating. The metal blade gets easily fitted into the wooden handle. Cold water is then poured onto the iron blade, which leads to the contraction of the expanded iron blade. The spade, alternatively, instead of using cold water, we can also allow it to cool in the atmospheric temperature. The spade also can be left to cool down undisturbed so that it is finally and firmly fixed. Now coming to question 10, higher order thinking skills, HOTS. 1. Peeled and unpeeled banana does not look the same. Does that mean peeling banana is a chemical change? No. When skin is separated from a banana, it causes a change in its look only. That is, the very look of the fruit gets changed when unpeeled banana and a peeled banana are kept side by side. But there is no change in the composition of the fruit. Therefore, it is not a chemical change, is the right answer. Question 2. A very hot glass on putting in cold water cracks. What does this change indicate? When a hot glass is put in cold water for fast cooling, the glass cools down unevenly. It causes the glass to crack because it contracts inside while it remains expanded outside. Glass expands when hot and contracts when cold. It is a physical but irreversible change. Now coming to question number 3. Boiling of water is a physical change, but boiling of egg is a chemical change. Why? Boiling of water is a physical change because on boiling water, it is converted into steam. If the beaker is covered with the lid, steam gets condensed back to water. As boiling of water only changes its state, it is a physical change. On the other hand, boiling of egg is a chemical change. As the chemical nature of the egg changes, the properties of a boiled egg are totally from that of the raw egg. So, boiling of an egg is taken as a chemical change is the right answer. Now, coming to question 11, assertion and reason type question. Here there are some examples given for assertion and reason, and we have to find out the correct choice. Assertion, the explosion of firecracker is a physical change. Reason, a physical change is a reversible change. In this, A is false but R is true because the explosion of the firecracker is a chemical change, whereas R is the right answer, right reasoning. A physical change is a reversible change. So therefore A is false but R is true. That is choice 2. By heating the liquids called boiling. Reason, the process of conversion of water vapors to liquid by cooling the vapors is called condensation. Both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A is the right answer. Therefore choice is B. Turning a wood log to charcoal is a physical change. Reason, the products formed of burning a piece of wood can be easily converted back into wood log. So answer C is the right choice, whereas the statement A is true, statement R is assertion. The formation of iron oxide from iron is a chemical change. For the rust to form from iron, it must be exposed to air and water. So assertion and reason both are true, and R is the correct explanation of A என்பது சரியான விடை. Therefore choice A is the correct choice. 5. A drop of petrol when touched with the finger gives a chill feeling. Reason, the above phenomenon is endothermic 1. Both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A என்பது சரியான விடையாக பார்க்கிறோம். Now coming to the last question of the session, that is picture based question. Observe the picture and list down the changes that are accompanied in the picture. Here they have shown a candle that has been lit and it is gradually burning at several stages and ultimately become very small. And the changes in this particular picture involve a physical change. That is, the size of the candle becomes from taller to smaller. And chemical change, when wax molten, you find that a lot of gases are released when the candle is burning. Therefore, it is also a chemical change, and since it is giving out heat, it is called exothermic change as well. Now coming to question 2, observe the picture containing a kettle and note that it has salt water in it and answer the following questions. Here we find that one kettle of water is kept over a burner and the burner is burning, and lot of vapor is coming out of the kettle over which a sheet or a plate is kept, and from the vapor when it gets condensed, it is poured into the beaker that is kept in the other end of the picture. So what is the name of the process that is done to the kettle? We find that the water in the kettle is being boiled. So therefore boiling is the process. Question B. What will happen to the content of the kettle? Water in the kettle gets converted into vapor என்பது இந்த படத்துல காட்டியிருக்காங்க. So therefore it is water is getting converted into vapor occurring on the cold surface of the metal plate. When a metal plate is kept over the water vapor, an endothermic reaction happens. That is, absorption of the heat occurs. And D. What can you say about the quality of water that is obtained in the beaker? Vapor gets converted into soft water by the process of condensation. So when you boil a salt water, it gets evaporated, and the water vapor that gets formed when it is condensed, you get pure soft water that can be drunk. Therefore, we have covered all the questions in this particular lesson.